Hello, I made a program in which you can um, inspire yourself to write stories or even sort of play it like a text adventure game, but it's kind of complicated to explain without showing, and also I might as well teach you how to use it while doing that. So this is the screen that you get when you first turn on the program. Um, this part is where the text is pasted to after you finish the program, and then you can select and copy it and paste it in a notepad, and I'd recommend doing that because it makes formatting it easier after moving it elsewhere, just because if you put it to like OpenOffice or Word, it won't format very well. When you hit start, it opens this menu, which shows you all kinds of stuff, and all the instructions are also written on it too, but this, I might as well show you how it works. So length is how long you want it to be before it goes straight to the print part. So like for the sake of the video, we'll do 5, and you enter. You can name a character like Steve. You can give him a type such as warrior and mage or something, I don't know. You can add more characters by checking these boxes and filling out their information. This becomes available once you've filled up this. You can put a world name and a world description in here, and we'll call this world Land of Places, and places upon places where things happen that are fun. And then you set it, or it won't record, and it won't let you start until you've at least pressed each button. But if you don't want to use it, just leave it with what's already filled in and remove it when you're done. For the end and the start one is the first thing that shows up on the next screen. It's a way to start your story. So Steve was on a quest to defeat a dragon. And then this is just like a reminder of what your end is and your beginning. And then the end is just put at the very end of the thing, and then you can like reflect back on how it went, I guess. Or it can be your thesis or something else, depending on how you use the program, because you could use it for something other than just a story. But the end is Steve defeats the dragon, and then you put that in. We'll do this last because it's a little more complicated, but not. Skills, you can do it's also paired with items. So, and I'll show you how that works when we get to the battle system. But you could do stuff like fire, and you just put it in. You can see a list of what they are here. Monsters appear here, or skills when you press on it. So fire, water, lightning, and you add monsters, which are generated from 2 names and 2 types, similar to the characters, but they have 2 words for their name, and they can be pretty much anything like mini dragon, type water, and then drops can be anything from like gold to fish. Chance is part of the battle system. It decreases your chances of winning. If it's over 100, you'll lose instantly. If it's below that, you're like, if it's 1, you're probably not, or 1 or 0, you'll probably win. If it's at like 20, you might lose. So we'll put that in, and then we'll add another type, like I could put water in already. I don't know. We'll go with earth, and it gives the same thing, but it's a larger dragon. And then you put that in, and then if you want a boss, you click this. You put in how many you want. So like, we'll call it boss dragon, and then you remove this because it can also be empty, and that makes 1 boss. The encounter chances for the monsters and the items, it's the same, but you can turn them on or off. We'll make items and monsters spawn, and we'll set it to 3 only because that makes them the most likely, and we only have 5 lengths. But the larger the number, the less likely items and monsters will spawn. But 3 is what we'll go with. As you can see, the monsters are now here. The boss doesn't show up there, but will show up on his own here. Once we put that in, it locks it. I may change that later. And the operators over here, by default it has 4 in it normally. If you don't want to use another one, you can just leave the blank one and do anything you want when it's blank, and you can put like a 0 here, and then you just enter it, and then you can start, and that leads you to this menu, which has the start part, which you can use for your quest. This will eventually be filled with text that you've already written. This will always be filled with the last one you wrote. This is your operator symbol, which just always reflects whatever you put in. In this case, it's remove part of the topic, or like something, the character loses something, or something happens. That's the reminders for the start and the end. That red number there is how long you have left till it's done. This is a crafting menu. When we get items, I'll show you how that works. And you can go back to the main to add more stuff, like an item, which the items have to be put in from this. So fire, put it in. I have to fix that. It'll be fixed when this video's out, but it tells you what's in there. Water, and then you can go back, and now you have fire and water in your inventory, and you can craft something by putting fire, water, and making I don't know what's fire and water. Light, gas, and then you craft it. It doesn't have any rules. It just, if you have those 2 items, it'll give you whatever you put in. It's kind of cool. You continue the story by writing in this box. So you do. Steve was on a quest to defeat a dragon. He traveled to a dark cave. You can fill this up as much as you want. It just becomes harder to read if it's bigger because you have to scroll this way and that way, depending on the enters and stuff. You put that in. Now the original one has moved here, and the what you just put in is there. The operator is 0, so you just do whatever you want because that's what you set yourself as a rule. So you go, he wondered if the dragon was nearby. You put it in again. Yeah, I wasn't sure if I set monsters to spawn. So he did not see a dragon, so he crept slowly deeper into the cave. Press enter, and now it says find an opposite. So it's a dark cave. He isn't seeing a dragon, but he saw many shiny crystals in the cave and decided he should pick one up. And then suddenly the boss dragon appears and you're in the fighting menu, and this bar will decrease as you hit attack. If it reaches 0, you lose the battle. But to do the attack button, you first have to select something from this menu, which is what your action, or you can use the inventory, but the inventory items disappear once they're used. You type in what the dragon does, or whatever boss or monster did, and you can use their own things to inspire what it does. This dragon is apparently a water dragon, so it shoots out a great torrent of water, and then you deflect with a light spell or thing. Put it in. If it matches, it'll turn this color, and that'll allow you to then attack. But if you press it and this isn't written, it won't. It'll just leave this blank. So that's a way to stop you from messing up, I guess. Let's do a review, because why not? And then you say something like Steve shot or deflected or reflected the water with a light spell. And you attack, and Steve defeated the dragon. And then you press enter, and it puts the entire text that you wrote, including the start and the world. And you click this, and it copies it, or it selects and copies it, so you don't even have to. You just press that button and it'll select and copy, and then you can repaste it anywhere outside the thing, format it, maybe add more detail, edit it, and then do whatever you want with your story that you wrote. It doesn't have like a save feature because it would just get more complicated than it has to be. It may crash, probably won't. If it does crash, I'll fix the bugs as they move along. But it is also open source, which means you can alter it yourself. It's in Godot, and it's $5. Yep.